Welcome to PBA at Noon. I'm Paul Benwell, and I'm joined by my associate, Sophie Caesar. With us today is Voyageur Pharmaceuticals. The symbol is Victor Mary on the Venture Exchange. It is a drug manufacturing company focused on radiographic contrast media products. Voyageur is developing barium and iodine generic radioactive drugs for the healthcare market. Voyageur is unique as it is sourcing its own main ingredients from its own mineral deposits in BC. Voyageur is building a business model that will allow it to be a fully integrated company in the radiographic marketplace. Near-term cash flow is expected to be achieved through third-party pharmaceutical manufacturing, sourcing third-party minerals, turnkey manufacturing, bottling, and distribution of barium and iodine radiographic pharmaceutical drugs for MRI, X-ray, and CT scan applications. Joining us today is Brent Willis, President and CEO. Brent, start whenever you're ready, and I'm definitely going to have some questions for you at the end of this.
Certainly, thank you. And thanks for having me, Paul. Appreciate it. So I'll just go right into our slideshow and we'll start there, and then we will answer questions afterwards. So radiographic contrast agents are used in CT scans, X-rays, and MRIs. And we're
Brent, sorry to interrupt. We can't see your screen if you're sharing it.
Oh, sorry. Hang on a second here. Is that working?
That's perfect. If you could just make that screen full size, that would be great.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
How's that? All right.
It's
thanks.
perfect.
Okay. The world of Zoom, eh? So we're moving forward with creating radiographic contrast products, which are used in CT, fluoroscopy, which is X-ray, and MRI. And our business model is creating a fully integrated company in this space, sourcing our own minerals that are used in radiographic contrast, controlling our price, controlling our costs, and becoming what we call from the earth to the bottle, which is full integration. By doing this, we will have the lowest costs moving forward and be highly competitive in this marketplace. We've been issued licenses from Health Canada on 4 of our 5 products that we've submitted. We're waiting for 1 more, which is pending. And these products are now moving forward into the development and rollout stage. And first sales will occur in Canada. And we're also moving forward with working with the FDA in the United States and looking at other countries where we're going to be licensing our product for worldwide distribution. So radiographic contrast suspensions are used in, as I said, in MRI. So barium sulfate so Voyageur's barium sulfate, we're looking at doing a quarry operation in BC. We can effectively quarry our own product at a very low cost compared to our competitors. Worldwide right now, there's only one other source of natural occurring pharmaceutical grade barium sulfate, that's out of China, and they're only able to sell 5% of that to the world market. So it's a very tight market to acquire natural grade barium sulfates, and our competitors are all using synthetically man-made barium sulfate, which is cost points are much higher than where we're at. We're working with a company called Alberta Veterinary Laboratories. They have a brand new GMP pharmaceutical manufacturing facility in Calgary. It just went online here in late January, early February. We can turnkey manufacture our contrast in Calgary. And we're going to start, as was said earlier, using third-party minerals and then transition into using our own barium sulfate out of our quarry in Francis Creek. We're working with a group of consultants that we've brought on board here recently that are experts in the barium contrast business. They have over 30 years experience, and we're utilizing their expertise to move forward on our product rollout, on our applications to jurisdictions around the world, And it's a pleasure to be working with these men and women who have expertise from manufacturing, formulating, clinical work to sales and distribution. So as we said before, that our competitors are sourcing their raw materials from Europe and from China. And our full integration plan is really being highlighted in today's market. With the cost of freight has gone up fivefold. There's shortages in the market for contrast products, API products, and our competitors are having difficulty supplying the market currently due to the breakdown in shipping and the effects of COVID in effect. So being fully integrated is going to allow us to move forward, controlling our destiny, because we have full control of sourcing our own minerals or APIs for our products and distributing them worldwide. So our goal here is creating cash flow as quickly as we can. That's why we're using third-party minerals, third-party manufacturing. Upon completion of this phase, we will be moving forward with building out our own plant and using our own minerals, reducing our costs and completing the full integration of the barium sulfate side of this business. Francis Creek, operations there will allow us to put in perspective, we have a quarry. It's a very a low-cost open pit mining situation, and it allows us to bring our ingredient costs out to market approximately tenfold lower than what our competitors are currently costs are. So we're advancing the Francis Creek project. Our next milestones on that are completing our PEA, our preliminary economic assessment, which will be followed by a pre-feasibility study. This should be completed here in the next few months. The pre-feasibility study in the next 3 to 4 months. And upon that, we will be moving forward with building our pilot plant and doing a 10,000 ton bulk sample. Our Health Canada licenses are in place, and we're moving forward with product rollout for Canada, which will be followed into the United States and other countries worldwide. And so our goal is by the end of 2021 to have cash flow commence. It may be 2021 or into the first quarter 2022. But 2022, we're looking at, I believe, a robust year of cash flow as we branch out globally and across Canada and into the United States. So some milestones moving forward. We have our PEA, which is going to be significant for us. With this, we're going to be looking at institutional financing to get our full production moving forward. We're going to be rolling out our products using third-party minerals and manufacturing, which will allow us to solidify our costs for any financing moving forward on our plant build-out. We're looking at licensing into the UK, the US, Latin America. We're also looking at Southeast Asia, China, and Japan as well. So 2022, we hope to be constructing our quarry and producing our own GMP barium sulfate through our own plant. And the plant that we're building is low cost. It's not going to, we're looking at a 1 to 3 ton an hour pilot plant. And we can get into the numbers after the presentation on how that will look. So barium sulfate there's lots of barium sulfate around the world, but it comes down to grade, and it's very unique to find a high grade pure barium sulfate deposit, which we have at Francis Creek. There's multiple grades out there: oil field grade, paint grade, pharmaceutical grade. It's all based on purity of barium sulfate. Whiteness and brightness and grind size all have multiple different price points. And Francis Creek, because of its high purity, allows us to penetrate the higher margin markets. Francis Creek is located right along a road. It's easy access. It's very close to Calgary. It's a year-round operation, and we have First Nation support on our projects, and everything is moving forward on the Francis Creek project, getting it into production by 2022. So the Francis Creek project, we have identified a resource, what we call the B zone and the A zone, and we have 700 meters of strike along the zone. First phase is going to be go and do a bulk sample on the B zone, which will generate approximately 3,000 to 4,000 tons of barium sulfate. And then we'll, as we get into cash flow, longer term, we're going to come in and infill drill between the A and B zone and expand it on, it's open in all directions, and we'll continue expanding the resource longer term. We have issued outstanding shares of 99.8 million and fully diluted around 139 million. Approximately 22% are held by insiders, and our market cap's at 16 million currently. We're moving forward with multiple generic barium sulfate products, and we're also going to be developing multiple other products that will be new to the market. One thing that we haven't addressed yet with investors is that we're moving forward with several new product lines that we're going to be developing in the marketplace, because the CT scans, the scanning equipment has advanced substantially over the years, and now, but the contrast market has not advanced at all. So we have identified several markets that we can move into where our competitors don't have products currently in that marketplace. So we have a multiple number of products that we're going to roll out, and we estimate we'll probably end up with 12 barium sulfate products down the road, and we'll be also advancing into the iodine space as well. We have strong management with experienced executives who have built companies. Myself, Francis Creek would be the third barium sulfate mine bringing into production from discovery to production. And we have a team assembled of experts in the pharmaceutical side with AVL, with Dr. Merle Olson, who's on our board of directors, with Dash, who are all experienced, high-level experienced folks in the barium contrast industry. We've been building a board of directors, and we'll continue to build this board of directors as an independent board. We have Trent Abraham, who has extensive experience on turning companies around and turning them into profitable, well-run companies. Ron Sifton, who is founded, well, he worked with Nuelta and was a part of the team that turned that company into $1 billion a year company. Randy Henkel, whose geological experience in barium sulfate and in mineral brine deposits is a huge asset for us. And of course, Dr. Merle Olson, who has been a tremendous asset in allowing us to use this facility to fast track our project into cash flow. So that will be, that's the end of my presentation. And what I prefer is talking about the project, getting questions from prospective investors. And I think that's where we can start highlighting what this is all about.
So we have quite a few questions for you, Brent. So one is talking about the market. What's the size of the market, and why would someone potentially switch to your product aside from cost?
Well, okay. So the market is tightly held information because we're going up against a monopoly. So we are currently have a marketing study underway, and we'll be presenting that, getting that in place for institutional investors. Our estimates are, I guess one way to look at it is, so one of our product lines is our SmoothX. It's what we call a smoothie. The smoothie market back in 2008, we know that roughly was around 30 million bottles per year in the US. Okay, those bottles that in 2019 sold for around $4 a bottle. So in 2008, just the smoothie portion of the market, which let's be conservative and say that's half the market, is 120 million a year of revenue. So we estimate the market is, in the US is approaching 200 million a year, and worldwide it would be approximately double that. So it's an attractive market for us, and because of our costs on our ingredients, which barium sulfate makes up the main cost of the ingredients. Our competitors are bringing in man-made product for their product lines, which is expensive. It's about double the price of natural USP barium sulfate, and natural US barium sulfate is currently selling for $3,800 US a ton, FOB China. We have product landed at our facility at AVL that we'll be using to start up. And to put it in perspective, so we're talking about a 1 to 3 ton an hour mini plant that is very small. We think the CapEx will be low. I don't want to give any estimates on CapEx until we get the PBA completed. But to put it in perspective, if we're the first product we're going to bring to market are our smoothies, and let's use that $4 a bottle. Okay, a bottle has about 9 grams of barite in it. If we want to just make the math simple, let's say 10 grams per bottle. 1 ton of barite will generate 100,000 bottles an hour. So if we have a 1 ton an hour, that's 100,000 bottles an hour. At $4 a bottle, it's $400,000 per hour of revenue generation based on a ton of barite. So that's the perspective that we're trying to get out there, that this is a very high revenue generating business where longer term, we're only looking at mining between 1,000 to 2,000 tons a year. We'd like to get up to 2,000 tons. If we got up to 2,000 tons, that would mean we have penetrated globally a very high percentage of the marketplace. And so we have a mine life approximately 40 years out there once we move this forward, right? So if it's, when we look at the value of the barite by putting it into a bottle and creating a fully integrated company, all of a sudden the Francis Creek deposit ends up having a very high valuation upon proving the economics moving forward.
So then does that make you, I mean, obviously you have this resource, but does that make you a drug or medical device? And how does this affect your FDA process?
Well, the FDA, barium sulfate was designated as a drug for years. And there was a court ruling that the FDA now has to classify as a device because barium sulfate does not interface with your body in any way. It's just it's a tool that allows these scans to identify contrast within your body, just to visualize things like tumors and heart issues and swallowing issues and Crohn's disease, things like this. There's all sorts of different applications, and because it's been prior, if it was a drug, it could take up to 2 years to get a product approved as a drug. It can cost up to $500,000 per drug. And so by a device, we're looking at $7,000 versus $500,000. And we're looking at much shorter timeframes with, some devices get approved within 3 months now in the US, up to 6 months. So but we need to caution, we're going forward with the first device application. So we're working with consultants right now, and we're engaging with the FDA and trying to understand how to navigate forward, as the FDA also has to navigate forward on new regulations on this device. So we are hoping that we can get this all put together over the next 6 months with the FDA.
Okay, excellent. So we have quite a few questions regarding cash flow guidance for Q4, and if you had any preliminary cash flow projections yet.
I can't put out cash flow projections. I've already been warned by the regulators. So
Can you tell us when you would expect to be cash flow positive?
We hope to be cash flow positive by the end of this year, and if not, early Q1. And we're looking at contracts. In this business, you're going forward with contracts that are up to 3 years, and so we already have interest from. We're fielding calls from all over the world right now. There's a lot of interest in our product because it's new to the market, and there's only one other competitor out there. And we estimate that within the first 6 months, we should be able to secure potentially 10 million in sales as we ramp up. And long term, over the next 5 years, we anticipate that we should be able to reach 100 million in revenue is our goal over the next 5 years. And also, as we move forward, then we're going to be looking at getting our full integration on the iodine side, which once the iodine is fully integrated, then we're looking in the hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue long term. But the iodine is our phase 2, is the way to look at that. We want to get fully integrated in our barium sulfate and then transition into the iodine space and move that forward. And we're going to use the same model as we are with Francis Crick.
So can you explain that iodine infrastructure and the cost of that product?
Well, iodine is mainly produced from brines, and that's what we're looking at. Iodine is in brine water. It's a simple process. It's what's called a blowdown plant, where they create iodine flake. And from the iodine flake, they turn that into different iodine chemicals. And they turn that into what's called an iopamidol or iohexol through a plant. And that is what goes into a bottle. So we're looking at the first phase of the project would be to build our own iopamidol or iohexol manufacturing plant, which would go directly into our iodine product line, and buying iodine flake from third parties, and then longer term transition into creating our own, producing our own iodine from brine.
So we have some questions regarding Francis Crick. So you had mentioned the mine life, but do you own Francis Crick? Are there any royalties on the property?
There's royalties going back to Tiger Ridge Resources. That so some history on that is my family owned Tiger Ridge Resources, and to roll those projects out, Tiger Ridge spent over 11 million on these projects, 3 barite projects, extensive drilling and exploration and construction of roads. And so these aren't grassroots properties, they're well advanced. And so there's a royalty going back to Tiger Ridge, a 3.5% gross revenue royalty to Tiger Ridge. And the properties are owned 100% by Voyageur, and that's the makeup of those properties.
And so is the Francis Crick project fully permitted?
It's got its exploration permits in place. The next phase is the bulk sample, getting that permit in place. And upon completion of that, then we move forward with quarry permitting.
Okay. Paul, did you have a question or two for Brent?
Yeah, just a couple of questions. Is the source of your barite now secure?
100%.
So you have no worries of moving forward until you get your own Francis Crick production, that you can get the source of barium that you need.
That's right. We have no issues. We just ordered some more here 2 weeks ago, and so no, there's no issues other than the time frames of. It takes longer to get product shipped. That's the only issue we're facing right now. It's just longer turnaround time due to the container market and what's going on out there on shipping.
Once the products are produced, what's the shelf life? I mean, can it sit on a shelf for a long time, or is it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's shelf life is I don't know the exact shelf life. We're talking years, right? So
Okay, so it's not a concern that you're going to be sitting there with product after it's manufactured.
Oh no, it's manufactured and it goes straight out the door. So we're just filling orders. We're not manufacturing and stockpiling. We are filling orders and shipping to market.
Okay, just a couple more questions. What is your equity relationship with your partners? I mean, are they partners, or are they just, like taking profit, or what's the deal with them?
Which partners are we?
I mean, your processing plant, your bottling plant. These are people.
Oh, it's so like AVL. It's just a contract manufacturing agreement. That's it. It's very simple, straightforward, and then and longer term, it's everything's going to be in our care and control. So we won't have any issues moving forward. And that's the key to full integration.
All right, and you're let me just see here. I had all right, there's artificial barite out there, or barium out there, isn't there?
Well, it's called blank fix or barium precipitate, and it's manufactured in a few different ways. Some of the product currently being consumed in the barium or the barium contrast market is manufactured from barium carbonate, goes through a chemical process and precipitated out as barium sulfate. And then there's another process where they take barite and they crack it at over 3,000 degrees and turn it into barium sulfite, and then they flash that back using acid into barium sulfate. So there's processes out there to create barium sulfate, but they're expensive, and that's what gives us the advantage in this market, because Mother Nature created this very high purity barium sulfate deposit, which is extremely rare, because barium sulfate is associated with base metals. When you go out looking for a gold mine or a zinc mine, you're looking for barite. That's a major indicator that there's a heavy metal deposit lurking nearby. You look at Nevada, all the large gold mines are all upstrike from the gold mines are all the large oil field barite mines. So finding barite that doesn't have metal contamination is extremely rare. And that's what makes Francis Creek so unique.
Gotcha. Now, do you have any offtake agreements, or at least MOUs, like for product?
Not yet, but there's groups interested. We haven't pursued that fully. We want to get more advanced with our product development. Most of our customers, they want to see our products. They want to test our products before they're going to move forward on any of these type of agreements. So we're working on that, but we are building a lot of interest. So we're pretty excited that everything's going to come together quite quickly here over the next 6 months.
So that's what I was just going to say. To finish this up, I think your next 6 months are going to be very key to how you move forward.
Yeah, it's exciting. We're a pharmaceutical company, and we're in the product rollout stage. And I think our value is, I think we're a great value for investors right now at our price point.
And finally, you should have some sales by the end of this year, right?
We should. That's our goal. But that's what we're planning for.
Sophie, go ahead.
Yes, Brent, we have one more question here. And I know you meant, so are you planning to do another financing, and what would be the cost? But I think you mentioned you can't talk about the CapEx for the mine or manufacturing facility.
Well, right now we're designing the plant. So we're working on the design of the plant, which should be completed. That's part of the PEA. So upon the completion of the PEA, the next step is to go and get this financed. So we're going to build it in Alberta. We're going to do our testing. It's going to be a mobile plant that can be shipped anywhere in the world, so that we have diversification if required. And it won't take long to build this plant. So all we're looking at doing here, it's very simple. So out at the mine site, it's like a gravel pit. It's we're not using water, we're using air gravity separation. And you mine it, you crush it, and you gravity separate it. that concentrate goes into a dump truck and off to your API plant, which we fine grind it with traditional grinding. We table it and we run it through acid, and then we separate the 10 and 1 micron product, and those are our 2 product lines, and those go into a bagger and off to the bottling plant. At the bottling plant is where we do our mixing with our API ingredients and bottle it into our bottle line and off to market. So it's
Brent,
fairly straightforward.
Yeah, Brent, I've known this story for a number of years. When you were a minor, like you were, in those parts. Now that you've moved forward, you've taken a fantastic turn. You've turned it around within, less than a year. You're going to be, potentially have some sales by the end of the year. So congratulations to you and the team. And we'll keep everybody posted. If you have any further questions, please address them to Sophie or I, and we can forward them to Brent. And we'll keep everybody updated in the coming months as to what's going on with Voyageur.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Brent. Appreciate it very much. Thanks, everyone, for attending. And we'll see you tomorrow and Thursdays. We got a couple more this week. Thanks very much, everyone. Take care.
Thank
Thank you.